Hi guys, Ronda Winstead here with you. Oh my goodness, it is so good to be back with you. I have missed you. I've been super busy. I just have been trying to get some work done on some orders that I've had in my Etsy and just normal life kinds of things that everybody deals with. Oh, but it's great to be back. So today, what I want to do is to create with you. We're going to do some fun stuff with paper bags. Paper bags. Okay. Let me just show you what I've been playing with. Just some super cute, simple little stitched little notebooks. Just, oh, and they're, of course, you know, they're fabric, and some are glassine, some are not. You can put something on the inside. I mean, they're really kind of plain, and yet the cover makes it so that, you know, it's kind of a wow, right? Let me just show you some of the things I've just been playing. Not putting a lot in here because this, I'm thinking, would just be a fun stocking stuffer kind of a thing. You could put a little gift card in here, money, whatever, and you can make envelopes for these. In fact, maybe I'll do another video. I haven't come up with that yet. But look, are these just, I mean, this is just one piece of fabric that I found, and then I just did a little collage on. Just super fun, super cute. And then, you know, those little notepads that you can get like in Tuesday morning, or that used to come there. I mean, just, oh, this is so much fun, you guys. So I have been quilting and playing with paper. Yeah. And just having a good time. Yeah. Aren't they fun? And then I had some leftover from a paper sack, and I decided, well, why not just create a tag, you know, strip quilt the paper. And then, of course, I added some wonderful antique ledger paper to that and zigzagged around it all. And this is from a paper napkin, okay, that I have cut out, that I did the paper napkin. I glued it onto this same ledger paper and then fussy cut. This one I tore. Okay, so we're just, you know, this is just fun. We're just going to play a little bit today. And I hope that you will join me. Get your stuff out. If you're working on something else, that's cool. Let's just chat and visit, and I will get my supplies handy. I've got to bring my sewing machine over, and let's see, supplies. Okay, you need something. If you don't want to do the paper bag, do something that's a paper base. Something that's going to give you the paper element. Mixed media, right? Stitching. We could stitch fabric to fabric, but that's, you know, and that's wonderful. But today we're stitching fabric to paper. So maybe a book page or a glassine bag. That could work great. Maybe I'll pull out some of my glassine bags too. I wanted to keep it small, and this little bag is what determined my size, and I will quickly measure that for you. It's 8 inches if you include, which I didn't. So I went 7 inches, by 5 inches. Okay? But your size will depend upon, and then of course, when you fold it in half, you know, it's 3.5 wide and 5 high. So this is just a nice little size. And then, of course, you can tie it with some ribbon, a bow. Let's see. I just picked this up when I was last in Hobby Lobby. It was 50% off. That's a good time to pick up ribbon, right? When it's... All right. Now, I'm not the very best on tying bows, but I will attempt to do one. Let's see. No, wait. I have to do it. No, it has to go this way for this to be right. Oh! But just, you know, but just such a fun little whatever. And you can put a little note there, a little tag, whatever. Okay, so let me get my supplies together. You get yours together and get your sewing machine out. Now, I've been trying to think of how we can do this, guys, if we don't have a sewing machine. Or we do, but we're just like, that's over in the corner and it's just this scary thing over there that's just like, the terrifying element. And I haven't quite come up with a way that is a foolproof, it's gonna make it fabulous in that you're going to have the same exact look. But I definitely think that you can collage and make it pretty and make it attractive, that you can take the idea and then roll with it for what you want to do with your gluing. Because I know there are amazing glues out there, and many of you have, you've just made it a fine art and you would never know. And I think that's fabulous. So I'm not saying that you can't do this. In fact, you know, maybe that would be a challenge. And show me. I would love to see what you come up with. I think that would be fabulous. But it would be layering, you know, and then, of course, gluing things down carefully, whatnot. But yeah, I think that's completely doable. By the way, I want to say hi to all my new subbies. I am so happy you're here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We have a wonderful time here. So let me gather my supplies. You gather some supplies, and then we'll just have fun, chat, create, and see what we come up with. All right, I'll be right back. If you could see my setup, the way my camera and my machine and my lights, you would just laugh. Okay, and I do apologize if the lighting isn't fabulous, but this is as good as I can get it for this angle and such. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to cut my bag. I can get 2 out of this. If you don't want to do 2, then absolutely just go with the size that you've got. Well, what I'm doing is I have a stainless steel letter opener, and I am just going to very carefully open it with that because I can. And then I'm going to go ahead and with my ruler and my rotary cutter, I am going to cut that apart. Okay, so you just want to measure, get your bag, and this is, some of this has to kind of be off camera. It may be because I can't get the, I'm sorry, but my machine is taking up space. So what I did was I just cut this end off, okay? So you get your basic size, you get your basic shape. These I went ahead and trimmed that. I just took that off. You can leave it on, just, you know, whatever floats your boat. And you don't even have, you know, I don't know. Okay. I don't know. Machine, you're in the way. All right. So I folded it in half, and now I'm going to stitch fabric on it. So what I want to do, let me bring some of these over to show you again. I start with one central piece. This is the one I started with the bell. I started with this little image. This one was just a beautiful piece of fabric that covered the whole thing. So that's a little different, but I want to show you how we do the image that you add, that you're stitching and whatnot. And this was the one for that. And then the one more, this was my image. So what you want to do, find yourself, and if I didn't say so, please forgive me, put this video on pause and go get your fabrics. You know, go get your I Spy stuff. This is kind of a continuing on that premise, sort of the I Spy. And if you're wondering about that, I have videos. You can look in my playlist and it will show some I Spy. So I think I'm just going to, for this one, I'm going to just start with a Merry Christmas. Have that be my little image to start with. Really doesn't matter, but I'm going to go ahead and take one that I think is more in the center than not. Well, let's do this. Let's just do this one. All right. So this is going to start it all. Okay. Glue stick. Just a tad bit. And I'm going to position this. This is going to be my front cover. And I'm going to have it angled. Just, you know, for fun. So now what I'm going to do, excuse me, is get fabrics. And I'm going to stitch like you would for a log cabin style. So we're just going to start I'm going to back my right sides together. You need to make sure that your fabric extends so that when I fold it over, everything will be caught in your seam line, in your allowance. And that'll make more sense as we get going here in just a minute. If I can get my get my presser foot. Get back here. How dare you run away? And I am using a 2.4. That's as I'm stitching on paper. Normally, I use a 2.2. And now I'm going to cut, turn it over, and cut. Trim off all of those. Okay? And then we will just finger press that open. Okay? So then I'm just going to go around the clock, clockwise around. So this is going to be my next seam line. And I'm going to stitch this. You can trim before or after. So this is going to be my next seam line, which is going to include the piece that I just added. Okay? So I'm rummaging over here in my fabrics for another little scrap, keeping in mind that I want to make sure that it extends past this last fabric, the straight line. And we use, for quilting, you know, we do the normal 1/4 of an inch. But this is a little bit different. We're custom. We're custom doing something, so, you know, whatever is comfortable to you, go ahead and do. Oh. And then we will turn it over. We will finger press, and then I will continue on this away. This away. It's not proper English, but you know. Okay, so then I'm going to stitch my next piece here. Now, I don't want you to think that, I mean, you can certainly get creative, and I may want to go ahead and stitch something here first before I do around. So you can, you know, mix it up a little bit. Now what I am doing, I'm going to show you this too. I'm just putting just a teeny bit of glue down to tack this down because I didn't take all of my scrap pieces, excuse me, and iron them before I started this project, because this is just a fun, easy little project that we're just throwing in there, right? So I did that with the glue, and that'll hold it down nicely. And then I'm just, you know, I'm just looking to see what my next piece will be. This, I can do this, but it's going to leave some space here. But then I could do something along the whole thing there as well. So maybe we'll go ahead and do that. And I'll show you how it works when you pick a piece that is just a little bit smaller. Whoops. First of all, it helps to have thread in your bobbin. It does. It's amazing how that works, right? So we just pop in another thread in our bobbin. I pre-wound 2 or 3 of these because as I get going here, I can run through bobbin thread pretty fast. Okay, so let's continue on. And as you can see, I'm just trying to keep my approximate 1/4 of an inch. My thread cutter on my machine back here is actually duller than it used to be. I wonder why. Okay. So continuing on, then we'll finger press, and this is my tool. It's a good tool. Again, I do apologize for the lighting, so I want you to be able to see this. Okay, now we're going to do this one, and we will have covered the entire Merry Christmas. Now here, I've just got a big strip going here, and I'm showing you different things so that you can see different ways of approaching it and decide which way works best for you. So now I am lining this up, and I'm just leaving that. I'm not worrying about that just yet. And I'm going to go ahead and stitch down, but I'm feeling where my fabric is underneath. Okay. And now I'm just going to kind of pull that up a minute and trim it that way. So you can do it that way. Or you can do it the way I showed you on the first piece. Or it's your project. If you want to leave all the threads in there and all the extra fabrics and all of that, that's up to you. This is your little deal. It's going to be your gift. Okay. So now I'm looking at this and I'm wanting to continue on the line. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and trim that off. Okay, so this is, you just continue to build, you continue to sew. Let me do one or two more, and then we'll just kind of take a look and see what we've got. This is a pretty piece. I love Christmas, you guys. I just do. I don't love the commercialism of Christmas, but at the same time, well, hold that thought while we talk business here. Here's my fold line, and there's a reason why I do the fold line, so that I know my front and my back. You can quilt, stitch the whole thing, right? But I prefer to do it like in pieces, to do like the front and then the back, and do the back the same way that I did the front, starting with a centerpiece somewhere and build out to get in close, and then this center, then I like to bring a piece over the center, or on one, in fact, let me show you what I did. One of these, I brought in paper. I brought in the brown paper, and I just stamped some snowflakes on it to cover both sides. So that's also very doable. All right, let's just... So what I want to do here is I don't want to start my stitching past the edge there because it goes over the line. So I'm actually starting it just a little bit shy of that. See what I mean? Okay. Just trim that up. Trim it, trim it. This is awkward, yes. This is awkward. Okay. Now, what I want to do here is kind of line these up. Can you see what I'm doing? Let's see. Can I do this? Let me see if I put this up here. Okay. So what I'm wanting to do here is my fold line. So I am just going to put my scissors in there and hold, just trim that, okay? And then I'm just gonna kind of trim this one a little bit also. And sorry, my hands get in the way. I'm left-handed, right brain. All right, let's take this back out so we can get a better look. Okay. So I'm just going to continue to stitch on this. Sometimes you'll have like weird things like this. So then what do I do? What do I do? Well, I'm just going to snip this off. Okay. And I'm going to snip this down. And then I'm going to put a piece that comes about down here to cover up there. So let's bring another piece in. Again, just more Christmas. It's a wonderful way to use up your Christmas scraps. And it's fun. I mean, it's really, you know, it looks awkward with what I'm doing, and I'm showing you with my machine here, and I don't have my normal workspace, so I know that that must look quite odd. But if you look beyond that, and it just continued to build. We are just, some people call it strip piecing, strip quilting, maybe strip quilting. And I just kind of trim down the excess, but that's me. You do what's good for you. And then we're going to go over here. I'll see if I can bring that in again. Oh, put it back up here. My machine makes a very lovely little workspace. But we're managing. Okay, now look what I've got here. I've got a little bit here that's gonna go, it might not get, okay, let's see, how do I show this? Just a second. If I put a piece right here to enclose that in, if I'm not paying attention to this piece right here, then it's going to be open and it's going to show. So you want to look at the whole picture as you're doing this project. So I'm going to do this. I'm just going to pull it in, and it does create more scraps because you're stitching where you had already cut, and then now you're cutting off a little bit more, and so it does create tiny scraps. But these tiny scraps, they were perfect. Excuse me. They're perfect for making fabric. Okay, I need to pull that back out again. Okay, so you see where it's stitched through? I'm going to gently just pull up a little bit so that I can loosen those threads. And then I'm folding back my paper or my book page. And I'm trimming that off. And then she said, and finger and thumbnail pressing, okay? Now what I'm going to do is get my fabric rotary cutter, and I'm just going to trim alongside the edge here. And my rotary cutter is getting dull. I'm going to need to switch it out pretty soon. That'll be close to the edge. So then we turn it over. Okay. Trim. And we're just continuing. You see what I'm doing. You see where we're going. I'm going to go ahead. stop the video right here. I'm going to finish this, and I'm going to do the back the same way, and then when we get to the point where we're ready to do our center, then I'll be back. So go ahead and get your papers, get them stitched up, and we'll go to the next step. I'll be right back. Okay, I have stitched everything. I am ready to trim, so you can either get your scissors out and cut along your outline, your dimensions there. Let's see. Let me see if I can just switch that just a little bit. And I am going to use my rotary cutter and my mat board to trim off the excess. Put that in my little pile of those. I will save those. That will go into making more fabric. And some of these bigger ones will go into oops, sorry, I'm just trying to concentrate. Can't talk and think and everything all at the same time. The bigger ones will go to make my crumb blocks. Okay. Oops. Okay. So, here we go. We have our cover, front and back. Now we're just ready to put something to tie them together. And there again, this is where you can use fabric, you can use paper, you can use ribbon, you can use lace, you can use handkerchief, you can use vintage, whatever you want to use. I have this gorgeous little piece of, excuse me, I still seem to be having that little frog problem. So if I put this like so, and then if I cover the inside with like the green paper, that okay, why not? We're just playing, right? I mean, I'm not like thinking this is like the most gorgeous combination that I've ever done. But I want to do something, and I want to do it a little bit different. So I think what I want to do is I'm going to trim this down just a smidge, just a smidgen. We will, and then we will glue first before we stitch. Okay. Now, okay, there again, I am just doing my stick glue. Some of you might wonder why I'm not doing like my art glitter glue or my Fabri-Tac on here. And I will share with you why I'm not. Because this is really quite thin, and I don't want to take a chance of having the glue show and look globby through this This is very, very fine linen, very, very fine, antique, and the glues will show through that. So now if I fold that shut, okay, then I can adjust. So I need to adjust on the top and on the bottom. I need to bring that just a teeny bit further there, and the same on the top, just a teeny bit further. Okay, now we'll go ahead, let me bring this over a little closer. And for this one, I'm going to go ahead and do a zigzag, I think. And we'll just give that a try. All right. So we have a fence that is being put up by our neighbors that just moved in not too long ago, which will take my view completely away. But it is a good thing. It really is a good thing because they have 2 little doggies, and the little doggies like to, oops, didn't want, get talking and I forget. I want to go back to a straight stitch now. And so the 2 little doggies, the one especially, we haven't noticed the other one with that, but the one likes to come on our property to do his business. And it's a young family, and the gal doesn't seem to be too concerned about that. And I'm sure they're wonderful. I love animals. I don't have a problem with them. But I really would prefer, them not to do their business. So when we saw the people that they're going to do a fence, that was like, oh, that'll be great. That'll be great. Wonderful. And I've heard it said before that fences make great neighbors. And I'm a people person, so I absolutely, like the idea that we have neighbors now. But anyway, just that's kind of a, Okay, so we've got a good start on this. Now, what I can do, I can go ahead and I can bring my other half of my bag, and I can line that together. I can stitch that. I can add glassine here. I can add my crinkle paper. This is where you can do some fun things. Music paper would be a fun lining to that. This is what I did on this particular little notebook. I thought this is super fun. So maybe we'll try this just to show you how much fun that is. Let me see if I can gently move my machine out of the way so we can sort of get back to I will be back. Okay, I am using, this is a roll of, it's called masking paper. I got this from Lori and Girl on the Ridge idea, and she buys it on Amazon. I went to Amazon and I found me some, It has one side, it's just it's got that same, you know, the crinkly deliciousness, right? One side is shinier than the other side. A little bit coated, not a lot, but so it definitely has a brighter and a duller side. So what I did was I measured this, the width of my little journal cover, or my little, you know, whatever cover, and trimmed that. And then I go ahead and just scrunch that up into a ball, and then I carefully open it up. The paper is fragile, but it's not like tissue paper fragile. So it's, you know, or napkin fragile. It's pretty good. So then we just open it back up, and then I take it to my ironing board and I pressed it. And so this is what we have to work with. So now I'm going to go ahead and trim this down. And I'm trimming this, I hope, to be just a smidgen smaller than my cover, so that I don't take a chance of this going beyond my cover. Did that make sense? And then what I will do, and it looks like I need to trim this just a teeny bit, not too much, just a skosh. What does one call that? Just a teeny, teeny, teeny weeny. All right. Yeah, there we go. That's going to work nicely. Unfortunately, the color that I'm working with on my mat board, it makes it so you're like, what? Where? Okay, so now what I'm doing with my same glue stick, now I'm just going to kind of coat, and everywhere you put a seam line, it's a little more coated than the other places. So I'm just gluing this nicely so that when I stitch it on, I don't have any crinkly or any tucks that I didn't want there. So we'll just go ahead and lay that down. Nicely done. Okay, we'll fold that up. Turn that right side. We had the back cover there, which that would have been fine too. Okay. Now the finish will be to zigzag around the edge, all around the edge. You saw me zigzagging this and the straight stitch, so I'm not going to do that on camera. I'm going to go ahead and zigzag that. Now, variations of this. Let's see, let me bring some things to show you. Here's one of the things that is a little variable. I put little corners on here, which I thought was super fun. It made it, you know, it gave it that kind of book, that little book kind of deal to it. And we can definitely do that. That's super simple. Let me show you. Well, first of all, take a look at these. Be working on yours. I'm going to be right back. I'm taking this over to my sewing machine, and I am changing to my zigzag again, and I will zigzag around here, and then I shall be right back. when I start and stop, I'm not turning and going around the corners. I'm starting and stopping on my corners, zigzagging off. Because with this thin of texture, or it has a, at least my machine has a tendency to want to smush that corner. If I try to stop it with the needle down and turn and all of that stuff that we do when we're stitching, it doesn't work so well for that particular application with my fabric and paper. So I'm just, okay, sorry. Okay, let me move those off to the side, and you can see what I'm talking about, my starting and stopping. I go clear off, and then I start off and continue down. And I'll go ahead and clip these off. And the what was I thinking? Putting the little additions, it cleans that up a little bit too. Now what I also do, once I've done the zigzag, is I'll just go through and I'll just trim off, you know, the little extra, just the little threads that sort of pop up. Being careful, because I don't want to trim my stitching and have that fray. So I'm being careful not to touch that, but I'm just sort of, I'm cleaning it up a little bit, just so that it's a nice, just looks nice. If you want, you know, the more rustic look and, you know, leave that, that's perfectly fine. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. And I like that look myself for different applications, for sure. Okay, so now, and it's soft, it's just fun. It's just fun. Okay, now moving on to the little, I'm going to do them brown, you know, I could do the green. We'll do the green. Why not? Let's do green. Okay. For this particular one, the size that I am using, I am cutting 1.5 inch squares. And you've probably seen this done before. It's probably nothing new, but it's just a little something that I have, I don't know, I learned it way back in my scrapbooking days, I suppose. I don't remember, actually, to be honest. Okay. Now, let's see. Let's bring this in closer. All right. So all I'm doing is I am folding this way, opening it up, folding it this way, corner to corner, okay? Corner to corner, and then you can see what I've got in, you see your lines. Now what I'm going to do is on the, just a little bit inside and to the point, and then a little bit on the other side and to the point. This gives me my corner. So what I will do is I will go ahead put a little bit of my glue, and I match up the corner with this, and then I fold this side in, and I fold this side in, okay? Which gives me my corner. Then what I'm going to do, I'll be right back, I'm going to straight stitch that to tack it down so that it's nice and secure, and it gives it that fun little edging right there. I'm going to trim off, clip my threads, and there you have it. Now what you can do if you want to get really careful is you can put just a teeny bit of glue on this. Uh-oh, see, that didn't catch. So we'll just go ahead and we'll kind of do that to it. We'll do that to it. And there you go. You've got that. So I will go ahead and finish the corners. I'll do those, and then we'll go ahead and we'll just put some fun things in the inside. We'll just put something cool in here. We'll just finish that up. All right, I'll be back. Okay, so I have I'm ready to go ahead and put my little papers together. We've got all of the corners on. We've got them all stitched down. So what I did was I cut, when I trimmed this, what I did was I cut it the 7 inches this way, and that gave me 2 widths pages this way with a little bit extra. So that works out great. So anyway, do your papers to size. This is from a digital, this is from Artie Mays, so that's going to be the center. And then I got another piece of copy dyed paper, and I'll show you. I mean, this is just super simple, Simon. Simon says, I don't know. What does Simon say these days? All right. So I'm trimming this down. And if you want, you can do this any way you want. This is just something that I'm doing that just makes it easy for me. Just reminding myself, okay, that I am trimming mine so that they're just a smidgen smaller, my pages, and I am going to trim it, I think, did I do it like that? No, I didn't. All right, so I did it just 1/8 of an inch smaller on all my sides. So then you have, these extra papers that obviously we use in everything. So the next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and fold them. And I'm just using a couple. This is not meant to be like write your whole history or anything like that. This is just a fun little something that they can take some notes on. I have this punch. I'm going to do these decorative corners, and I'm doing it closed so that it saves time, number one, and it's exactly the same. I love this punch. There are lots of, corner rounder options out there that you can choose. And I'm going to do the same on my fly paper, trying to think of we don't like that. Thinner papers don't do as well in a corner punch, or punches, period. I'm sure you've tried to do that, and sometimes it just doesn't work. So you have to add a heavier paper with it, and then it's like, oh, it does work. Okay. So everything, let's put that away. Let's just assemble it. Just assemble it. Just assemble it. And then I want this on the inside right here. Let's get our little book back, or tiny little journal. So I am just going to stitch this down real quickly, and we will just finish this little guy up. We'll go ahead and just do a paper clip there and a paper clip here. We'll stitch it down and we will be done. So if you're doing this for your loved ones, for some of your grandchildren, children, relatives, friends, whoever you are doing it for, it will be a fun addition. They will love the fact that you made it. Now these, you can see I'm tying in a little knot. The reason I do that is so that they don't come out. And you can, sometimes they don't want to knot. I did one both ways. Okay. This is just turning out to be so much fun. Yay! Another padded little goodie. Just a fun little delicious something that was handmade that didn't take forever for you to do. Now, one other thing that you can do, well, you can do a ton of other things, let's face it. But I have these from Hobby Lobby, and this is, I didn't plan it this way, but it's the perfect size to put, little journaling spots here to kind of finish it off. You can put them, you can not, you could do one on both sides like that, however you want to do it. For this, I am just going to do a little bit. I'm not stitching this one. I just want to glue this carefully, and I'm only going around the edge. This is with my art glitter glue. All right, and I'm going to do it on the inside. Going to just kind of center that. Okay, then I'm gonna open up the back flap. Then I am going to, oh, I hope you're healthy, you guys. I think about you all the time, I really do. Just want you to know I love you. I care about you. And I can't even begin to tell you the friendships that I'm beginning to make from those of you that have braved the messaging. It's just so fun. I just have thoroughly enjoyed it. And I'm finding so many amazing, like-minded creators out there that I just love. Okay, so here we are. So we can put it in a little bag. We can tie it with a bow. We can add more embellishment here. Like, for instance, I could do something. I probably will. Yeah. I probably will. Oh, I'm done. Don't say you're done, Rhonda. You might want to do a little bit of collaging. It's what you do, right? Oh, dear. Well, if I do another video and you see it collaged up a little bit, you'll understand what was going on through my mind, right? Oh, looky what we could bring in here. Anyway, I'm not going to continue the video that long. Just wanted you to see what you can create. Fun, amazing, add some words. Now see, this is just a little teeny bit of this same, and isn't that cute? Doesn't have to be a lot. This is only 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces, including the little word. This one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 layers, but it's still very simple. Yeah. This one is plain. This is the plain Jane. And yet, how sweet. How cute. How cute is that? Another. So, all right, guys. Thank you for joining me. I hope that you are safe. I hope you're happy. Again, welcome all my new subs. I hope to get to know you. I'm just me. I'm just here doing my thing. I'm grateful. I have so much joy, and I just want to share that with you guys. All right, until next video. Bye now. Have a fabulous day.